This Good Morning Northwest morning sprint is brought to you by Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning.
It is 6:53, time to get you ready to take on your work week and this Monday with the morning sprint.
Sydney Charles live with details on a pivotal week in the Supreme Court for student loan forgiveness debt.
But let's get right to Mark first, telling us when we can expect some snow moving in.
It'll be later on today, no doubt about it. First Alert Weather, and that First Alert Weather app is free and available in the App Store. You're going to see, again, current conditions are mild. We're sitting at 20 degrees. We'll warm to 38. Grand Coulee, 37. Look for Colville to get up to 32, but they're sitting at 9 degrees right now. So we look at the forecasted snow. It looks to move in this afternoon. About the time the kids getting out of school, you're getting out of work. But overnight, we're going to see that add in for tomorrow morning's commute to get, again, potentially a little dicey.
Two Kootenai County 15-year-olds are facing burglary charges. Deputies say they stole valuables from nearly 24 unlocked cars. Sheriff's deputies received a report of two suspicious men checking car doors in a driveway around 3:45 Sunday morning. When police arrived, those masked teenagers hid in some bushes. Deputies arrested them after a short chase. The teenagers are facing multiple charges of burglary, theft, and weapon charges.
The Spokane Valley man accused of raping two young boys is back in court tomorrow. 62-year-old Patrick Kabiza was released from jail until his next court appearance on the condition that he agreed to have no contact with children and to stay at least 1,000 feet away from the victims. Kabiza is accused of raping those two boys at his home this past winter.
Today is the day green yard waste bins start getting picked up again in the city of Spokane. It's a great time to dispose of fall leaves, food scraps, and food-soiled paper items that can be composted instead of dumped in with all your regular trash. And this is a look at some of those waste products that can go into those green bins. When you request a green bin, a monthly payment of $18.84 will be added to your utility bill.
And the U.S. Supreme Court is set to hear oral arguments this week on President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. Lawyers backing two key legal efforts to block the plan are set to argue their cases before the Supreme Court justices tomorrow. The Biden student loan forgiveness plan cancels up to $10,000 in student loans for people who earn less than $125,000 a year and $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients. Separate lawsuits filed by two boroughs and a group of Republican-led states argue the president's plan is an illegal abuse of power and is unfair to some borrowers.
The man accused of murdering a Spokane man during the 1980s was extradited to Spokane last week. Last fall, Spokane police announced they arrested Tracy Pruitt for the murder of Archie Rutherford. They say they used Pruitt's DNA to connect him to the crime scene. They also matched his fingerprints to prints found in a Honda that was stolen from Rutherford's home. Pruitt was arrested in Ohio just a few months after Rutherford's murder for rape, robbery, kidnapping, and assault, and served prison time there. He is now facing first-degree murder and robbery charges.
The Spokane County Sheriff's Office says a deputy was involved in a crash in Spokane Valley Saturday night. It happened in this area, Sprague and University. The deputy was on their way to help with a robbery. That's when the Sheriff's Office believes the driver of a van did not stop for a red light at the intersection or yield to the deputy's car. The driver and passenger of the van and deputy were taken to the hospital. None seriously hurt.
At least 61 migrants, including children, were killed when their boat broke apart on the rocks off the coast of Calabria, Italy. The vessel left the Turkish city of Izmir 3 or 4 days ago with up to 150 people on board. About 80 people were saved from the water while clinging to pieces of the boat.
Newspapers around the country dropped the Dilbert comic strip over the weekend following a racist tirade by its creator, Scott Adams. In a YouTube video, he called Black Americans a hate group and suggested white people should, quote, get the hell away from them. Adams has since said on Twitter that the cancellation of his cartoon signals that free speech in America is under assault.
Andrew Tate, the Device's social media influencer who's detained in Romania on suspicion of organized crime and human trafficking, arrived today at an appeals to challenge a decision last week to once again extend his detention by 30 days.
Some lucky people got to see a rare sight for our area last night, the Northern Lights. The aurora borealis happens as a result of disturbances in the magnetosphere caused by solar wind. This is a picture from the National Weather Service of Spokane. If you took your own pictures of last night's aurora and want to share them with us, you can email them to Mark Peterson at markp@kxly.com.
In a few minutes on Good Morning America, a new warning about criminals exploiting a security feature on phones to access victims' entire digital lives. Learn how you can protect yourself coming up on GMA. We're back to that final check of the weather with Mark coming up right after this.